Hey everyone, this is Daniel,
And I'm Jun,
and we are
Korean.
American.
I almost forgot the order in which we do it because it's been so long.
It really does feel awkward.
It does, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this the longest stretch break between recordings that we've ever had since we started.
yeah. Good
Yeah.
thing that our listeners probably didn't notice.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the audience, I just got back from a month-long U.S. trip.
Yes.
Me and my family and I spent all of July in America.
Yeah. You do more American. You do look more American.
Yeah, June.
Actually, you came back. Your
I intentionally didn't shave yet. Yeah.
yeah, that and also your hair.
My hair?
It's just like grown out.
Unkempt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like in Korea, people. I mean, your hair being longer is a bit more Korean,
Yeah.
but the way that you wear it is like it's not like you know what I mean.
You
Like,
can say it, June.
관리 안 했어.
I did. I look very
It's kind of like
disheveled.
교포-esque.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, more natural looking though.
Definitely. What 눈치 없고 살았어 미국에서.
Pain.
What's pain?
It's
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
it's like someone who doesn't take care of themselves.
That's me. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's
So-
kind of like the castaway moment.
That's what I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the U.S., I really did not care at all about, I guess, like grooming
Yeah.
or looking put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very free.
How
So-
did that feel like? More liberating? Like, did it do anything to you?
For sure liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just looks wise. Okay, here's a very concrete example. I just turned 40. My hairline is receding June. We didn't talk about this. I almost got the hair transplant surgery in Korea, but I didn't.
Is it totally off the table?
I'm still open to it, but I
Okay.
just decided I didn't,
Yeah.
There were some reasons why I didn't do it when some of my friends did it here. But as an example, I think in Korea, I'm more self-conscious about putting my hair up so that everyone can see, like, oh, he's losing his hair. But in America, I realized I really didn't care. Like, in fact, in America, I usually wear my hair up. But I think in Korea, I've come to wearing it down. It feels more Korean too. But that's just an example. I don't care if people see in America that my hairline's receding. Whereas in Korea, I'm more self-conscious of it. I don't know why. Like, I'm not trying to attract people. I don't care how people look at me per se.
Yeah.
And yet it still matters. It still impacts me when I'm in Korea. Yeah.
It's the same way other way around too, because I don't know why, but like you transition back like immediately like that.
Yeah.
And you start not caring about yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you immediately notice that everyone's different
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
and there's nothing to compare with.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So it's in the air. Like the, like the pressure to 눈치 봐 is in the air in Korea, maybe.
It really probably as a Korean,
Yeah.
right? I bet foreigners might not feel that here because they know they stand out.
Yeah.
And they don't see themselves in every single person
Yeah.
they look at, right? So I
Maybe
think
it's
for
also
sure.
like walking into a restaurant, like a fancy restaurant, where like everyone's very well dressed.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not.
Yeah, you're all
just,
of a sudden aware of what
immediately-
you're wearing. Yeah. I think that makes sense. But yeah, June, and just for this episode, I don't think I've shaved since I went to America. Did I? Yeah, I don't think
Really?
I did.
That's how much you can get in 1 month.
Maybe. Oh, man, I really don't remember. But anyway, I haven't shaved since coming back. I
It's
can
very
tell
impressive because there are very few Koreans who can grow it out like
a
that.
full beard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of jealous.
But one of our episodes we were talking about if you grow out your facial hair, but it's not like
Groomed.
groomed.
Yeah.
You look like
Pain.
I think you said like unemployed, never leaves the house, that kind of look, right?
Yeah, that's like the description of what a pain would
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
That's me right now.
Yeah.
My hair, I haven't gotten the haircut for sure in at least like 6 weeks now, I
Maybe
think.
you should try it. Like you should try growing it more.
No, to be honest, it's annoying.
Is it?
Yeah, like it's kind of itchy, like food gets stuck in it sometimes.
Maybe
It's
you're
annoying.
like in the zone, but if you grow it out more, it's gonna be comfortable.
No, I've grown it out a little longer than this. I really don't like it.
There's a term in Korea, it's like slang called 거지존.
I know koji means like
Beggar.
homeless, beggar,
Yeah.
yeah.
But like 존 is like literally using the English word zone.
Oh.
It describes like when you're trying to grow out your hair.
Yeah.
There's like this phase of your hair where it's like it's kind of weird.
Oh, it's the
very
in-between awkward phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
거지존. You're in like your beard 거지존.
During the pandemic, which will come up later, again, this topic, but in the US, I grew out my hair, right? You couldn't go to a hair salon or whatever.
Why can't you?
No, in Korea, sorry, during the pandemic time.
Oh, during the pandemic.
Yeah,
sorry.
I
Okay,
grew up
okay.
my hair.
Yeah.
And definitely there was that awkward in-between phase where like it was, you couldn't like put it behind your ears, you couldn't like tie it up very easily, but it was like getting in your eyes.
Yeah.
But then once it passes that phase, it's like long enough.
Yeah.
Where it, it doesn't feel as bad. Yeah. So
I think I saw a picture of you in a ponytail, right?
not
Was
quite
it not?
ponytail, but I had like the samurai updo or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
Oh man. Yeah. So my facial hair has grown. My hair is unkempt. I'm at least 3 shades darker. I don't know if you can tell.
Shade. What's a shade?
I'm darker. 3 shades
Oh,
darker.
shades darker.
Yeah, I'm just like tanned.
Maybe that's why you look more 교포.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least probably our first 2 weeks there. Every day we were just outside or at the pool or something. I can tell I got really dark really quick, and I saw it on my kids too.
Sounds so good.
My cousins, they go to the pool probably every day during the summer. Sorry, my kids' cousins, they probably just go to the pool every day during the summer, and they were really dark. I was a bit shocked when I saw them, but I think it was the shift in reference from being in Korea where people really try to avoid getting tan versus being in America where I wouldn't say they actively try to get tan, but you're just out in the sun so much you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Right? And then I was gonna say something else. This is kind of embarrassing. I didn't really wash my face for the whole month.
For the whole month, you didn't wash your
I
face.
did when I took a shower.
Yeah.
But in Korea, I have I think I mentioned this on a previous episode. I got like some $20 like starter kit for like skincare routine. I bought it from Muji, right?
Okay.
But I didn't travel with it. I didn't care enough to do it. And because in America, I never had any sort of skincare routine.
And you wash your face like in the middle of the day?
No, I'm just saying like before I sleep, right?
Yeah.
In Korea,
Yeah.
I just have like a very simple like 3-step skincare routine now. But I didn't do any of that for a month in the US. So I don't know if my skin looks different.
I heard some rumors that like not washing your face is actually better for your skin.
I don't know about this
I can't
one.
tell, by the way. but
Okay.
It looks the same.
June, and the final one, I gained 4 kilos.
You gained 4 kilos?
I gained 4 kilos, yeah.
Of muscle?
No, just I gained 4 kilos.
I'm so proud of you.
I didn't exercise a single time.
If you don't exercise, you gained 4 kilos
Well, I also
in a
ate.
month.
I also ate a lot, right?
But you moved a lot too, no?
No, well, that's the thing. I moved in a car a lot.
Ah.
In America, you just drive everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I should say specifically for me, in America, outside of the cities, we didn't stay in New York City or anything like that, right? So you just drive everywhere. You're walking from your house to your car,
I see.
from the car to the restaurant,
Yeah.
back from the restaurant to your car,
Yeah.
and then from the car back home, right? After you drive back. So yeah, I gained 4 kilos, and
I don't think I can tell though, but you look happier with your beard and like not groomed hair, gaining 4 kilos.
yeah, I mean, I also lost whatever little Korean language skills I had accumulated.
You lost that?
Very quickly went away.
Altogether in 4 months?
So even ordering this like iced Americano this morning,
Yeah, you're good.
I was struggling. I was it was back to the point where like when I see Hangul,
Yeah.
it's just like Egyptian hieroglyphics for me. Whereas I think I told you before
crazy.
leaving,
Yeah.
even sometimes going to a restaurant where they have both the Hangul and the English, I would read the Hangul.
You did.
Yeah, but now in a month, it's like completely gone back to square one. It feels
Oh, you're
like.
gonna get it back in like 2 days.
I think I'll get back to the level I was at. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I think I lost a little bit of my English too.
I could tell you were like, wait, what did I say? 3 tones darker, 3 shades darker. You were like, what?
I thought that was like an American thing. Like I thought you said stalker.
Oh, stalker.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, we're talking too loud. We're getting too excited, June.
Okay,
Our
okay.
volumes are too loud.
Yeah, definitely lost my English, which is a proof that people listen to our podcast to study English.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. June, most surprisingly, I don't know. This is not maybe not most surprisingly, but since we're on the topic, our third kid, who has spent most of their entire life in Korea, went to Korean 어린이집 and 유치원, so daycare and kindergarten. Sometime during the trip, I'd say like within the first week, she just flipped completely to English.
Oh wow,
And
crazy.
my wife and I were really sad. But basically for the entire last month, she's been using pure English. And it's really sad. We could tell she already had started losing some of her Korean skills.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's so interesting.
So quickly how you lose it. Yeah.
It's kind of like a social experiment.
It's so crazy though. We were both shocked how quickly she
Yeah.
lost it.
Yeah.
And at first we thought it was kind of a joke. Like, oh, she's just doing English for fun, to fit in. She can still speak Korean. But we could tell sometimes she was getting frustrated. Like she had forgotten the word and embarrassed because she was like, 까먹었어. Like I forgot
Oh,
how to
wow.
say it in Korean. And she was genuinely kind of a little sad and embarrassed. So we knew it wasn't a joke at that point. 3 years of Korean language immersion wiped out in 30 days.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, I was very curious about your kids' reaction. 'Cause that's, I think, as far as I understand, that was one of the biggest reasons why you did the immersion trip, vision trip, right?
Yeah.
But are you gonna cover that in the episode?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
recap then. Well, June, while I was in the US, I was playing kind of this game where I hadn't met some of my friends or family in, 3+ years. And it was like, it's kind of awkward because you don't even know where to pick up.
Yeah.
Like, it's so familiar. These are friends you've known or family you've known for your whole life for 10, 20 years. But you hadn't really talked to them for at least 3 years. And for me, this is what I was mentioning earlier, June, more like 5 years.
Yes.
Because we had left during the pandemic. So it's not the 3 years since we moved to Korea.
I see.
It's adding on the 2 years before that when we were kind of in shelter in place lockdown mode. And so when I was seeing these friends and family, it was really kind of awkward at first. Because like, again, so familiar, but wow, we haven't connected in 5 years. Where do you even start? So kind of one of my icebreaker things that I'll use on you too. It's like, hey friend,
Yeah.
3 years and 30 seconds, go. And they laughed too, because it's like, how can you recap 3 years in 30 seconds? But June, I'll throw it to you. I missed, I've been out of Korea for 30 days.
Yeah.
30 days and 30 seconds. Go, what I miss in your personal life in Korea, whatever.
You missed the crazy 장마. It was raining like crazy.
I heard about that. Yeah, crazy flooding too.
I think there are trends each year. Sometimes the 장마 isn't that severe. This time it was. And then what else? I mean, you didn't miss the Olympics, but you missed the beginning of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely less craze over the years because like the Olympics was really a big thing.
Yeah.
And I already realized a lot of my friends and acquaintances, they don't watch the Olympics a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's in the news and stuff. Like people know that like we won the gold medal or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think it's with less enthusiasm. Wait, we weren't talking about the Olympics. What else happened in Korea? Is that pretty much it? You didn't miss out on a lot. It was just like very
Rainy.
rainy. Yeah.
Let's move on then. Yeah, my US trip, we've definitely talked about it on the pod before here and there. But for listeners who don't listen to every single episode to completion, basically all of July, my family and I were traveling across the US. And for my wife and kids, it was the first time being in the US for 3 years. And for our youngest daughter, who is turning 2 in a couple months, this was her first time stepping foot on American soil, even though she's an American citizen. So it was kind of a big trip, and there wasn't really any specific impetus for it per se, other than, I haven't visited my hometown in Maryland for a really long time. I'd say 5 years, I think. And, my kids haven't seen their cousins in that long in person. And, so just really reconnecting with family that we hadn't gone to visit in so long. Again, because of the pandemic, followed by us moving to Korea. But other than that, too, I think when we first moved to Korea, our timeline was 2 years. We've already passed that. It's been 3 years. And I think we were open to maybe up to 5 years at first. And so this trip for us was also a chance to really think about, okay, how long are we going to stay in Korea? Are we going to move back to America? If so, when? And also, if so, where?
Yeah.
Right? Because we're in the fortunate, maybe, position of having a lot of choices. And this is kind of a soft reset for us. Like, if we had never left the Bay Area in America, we never would have moved. We would have never thought about moving. But since we moved to Korea, now it's a chance to like maybe look at things with a more of a clean slate.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if we're, let's say in a sense, immigrating back to America, where would we move to, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we visited the 3 areas where we have either really close, deep personal ties or family.
Yeah.
And so we visited Maryland, Southern California, specifically, I'd say North County, San Diego, as well as Irvine, but both in kind of Southern California, but not LA. And then Bay Area, where my wife and I met, and we had our first 3 kids. So,
Do you have any connection, like experience living in South California?
no, we don't. I mean, my wife grew up in Southern California, in the Valley in LA. But other than that, we've never lived there as a couple, family. And also, we've never spent more than, let's say, like a week there. So this was also, for me, interesting. I've never considered living there, if I had to be honest. And to actually be there for a week plus, looking at homes, thinking about schools, talking to other parents and families, and really thinking, I've said this before, it's different visiting a place for vacation versus going there really with the intention of thinking about, oh, could I live here? Should I move here?
Yeah.
And so that week in LA was very different from any other time I've spent in, I guess, Southern California. So, yeah, we spent the first 2 weeks in DC, and then, 1 week in Southern California and 1 week back in the Bay Area. So,
What does Southern California mean to Americans?
yeah, I'd say most people would think of LA. That's
Yeah.
what immediately comes to mind. But technically, it's like anything LA and South, I'd say. So, LA, but also San Diego, but also Orange County, where Irvine and other places, a lot of Koreans and Asians live there. So,
Yeah. What does that mean though?
What do you mean?
For our Korean audience. Like is there like very specific characteristics of when you hear Southern California?
you mean not geographically?
Not geographically,
Oh.
one thing that I can think of is good weather.
Oh, yeah, beaches, good
Yeah.
weather, chill vibes,
Yeah.
right? Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think that's what immediately comes to mind for people. Maybe if you're a little bit more Americanized, you're thinking Cali, Cali Mexican food, like really good Mexican food. And yeah, a lot of surfing, things like that. Yeah. I think that's what comes to mind.
Yes.
But funny enough, California is a huge state. Northern California, Bay Area, right? It's really central. It's like smack dab in the middle of California.
Yeah.
And from the Bay Area, Northern California, you have to drive 7 more hours, I think, before you leave California north.
Yeah.
So California is just humongous. I think people don't realize how big it might be. Yeah.
I asked you because my, I guess, image and impression of the United States is Southern California. It's because
Really?
yeah, like
Yeah.
the palm trees, like the skinny palm trees.
Oh, yeah, palm trees. I forgot.
like that
Yeah.
that kind of imagery.
Yeah.
It's because that's my first experience living in the States, right? So that's like left me a very strong impression of what America is.
Yeah.
And when I was living in Boston, it felt like this is not this is not America.
Yeah.
It felt very more European, if you will.
Oh, yeah, I could see that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And, I can understand why a lot of Koreans' impression of America would be like Southern California, specifically LA, right? Because that's the biggest Korean population in America, Koreatown, everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, obviously, I grew up on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so my impression of America is more like, and I feel justified in saying this, like Washington, D.C., the capital, nation's capital.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I think of America. But yeah, I can understand. Boston and L.A. are pretty much polar opposites. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll let you get back to where you were talking.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
to be clear, my wife and I, it was such a whirlwind trip, living out of our suitcases with 4 kids in tow for close to 4.5 weeks. And at the same time, it went much smoother than either of us, my wife or I,
Oh, that's
had
good.
expected. Mostly because of 2 reasons, I'd say. Again, if there were any question, I think, at least me, I'll say, my wife and I too, we're just American, right? And so everything felt more convenient, comfortable, familiar, and just easy, right? Like calling around, talking and getting answers to things, navigating whatever systems there were to navigate. It's just easier, right? That's just so much more natural for me to do. But other than that, actually, even though we were in the US for 4.5 weeks, we were always spending time with, living in someone's house who had kids too. And so it was just so much easier traveling than, let's say, going to a hotel where, we just like not having any toys or just having to, I don't know, cook or figure out food every meal, ordering and whatever. Because we were staying with family or friends that had kids too, it was just easy, right? They already had all the kid stuff there. Breakfast, we were just joining whatever they were eating. So yeah, I think that was the biggest blessing.
Wait, how does that actually work? Like, because I feel like it's in especially modern day Korea, that concept is a bit foreign, like crashing at your friend's house
Yeah.
with 4 kids.
Oh,
So,
June,
like,
you know the word crash.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's good slang.
Okay. A word of today. Crash. Anyways, especially you're
Wait,
like
we should define it. Crash, verb,
verb,
slang.
slang.
To stay at someone's place. That is not your own. Casually hang out anyway.
Yes. Anyways, so you're 6 people, right?
Yeah.
So in Korea, it's very rare that someone has a house that can accommodate for
Yeah.
6 people.
Yeah.
Especially with 4 kids, right? And I feel like it's more of a culture in the US than in Korea, right? So
Yeah.
like, how does that work? Like, do people usually have guest rooms, or like, did you crash out at their living rooms and their couches?
Yeah. So to be clear, we never crashed in like a living room area. It was either, let's say, the basement for my brother's home,
I see.
or a guest room, or 2 guest rooms, because we have 6 people. We're overflowing. So yeah, I mean, number one, houses in America, they just have more space.
Yeah.
Imagine like a whole basement floor, which is like doubling your whatever square footage your house is.
Yeah.
And it's generally no one's like living there, right? So we used the basement, and we took over the basement at my brother's house.
Yeah. But for Korean people, when you say basement, I understand what a basement space looks like in a typical US house. Like it's like usually like for hobbies, they sometimes have like a pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a
Not a swimming pool, but yeah.
a lot of people call it man cave.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like a place for entertaining and hosting and just hanging out.
Yeah.
I love basements.
Yeah.
I will also say California homes, they don't have basements, mostly for earthquake concerns, I think. But East Coast homes in America, they all have basements pretty much. And
Is that because of the hurricanes?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think that's true.
It's just a culture.
Yeah, it's just like if you can add more space to your home, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right?
And American basements, they always have like a slight smell of mold.
Oh, wow.
Do you know that smell?
That like it is slightly musty because there's no airflow. Yeah.
Anyways, so when you say basement,
Yeah.
it's not like your typical what a Korean person would imagine a basement is. Because like
What would a Korean person imagine a basement?
it's like where the boilers are.
Oh, like
and
the
it's usually
cellar.
it's not even like furnished.
Finished. I see.
Yeah.
I see. So to be clear, this is where American homes will put their boiler, water heater, a lot of like house infrastructure and maintenance. But yeah, they're also, you can have unfinished basements. But of course, like more and more people, if you can afford to, they'll just finish it, right?
Yeah.
So it's completely livable space. It's really nice.
Yes.
And yeah. In fact, it's cooler a bit
Yeah.
in the summer. So yeah. As far as the space goes, I think that's number one.
Yeah.
There's just more space in America. And so crashing or staying with people, even with our family of 6, it wasn't such a big deal space-wise. But maybe just as importantly, June, I think the idea of putting burden on someone else by staying there,
Yeah.
it's just not really a thing. Of course, we felt bad sometimes, but there's this like mutual recognition or acknowledgement. It's like, yeah, it might be uncomfortable for us to add 6 people to our home. You're not going to be as comfortable either. But at least we're together, and that's the most important thing, just spending time together. And so no matter how uncomfortable or how burdensome it might be for, you to stay with us for, a long time, whether it's 2 days or 6 days or whatever, there is this general acknowledgement that, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just like stay.
Yeah.
We'll make it work. And I would say even in Korea in the reverse, right? Because a lot of people have been coming to Korea to visit. Like we've been talking about, the apartments in Korea are not that big.
Yeah.
And our apartment is not that big. But even if another family of 4 is coming, we're like, hey, like, you know, it might not be the most comfortable, but you're welcome to stay with us. Like, we have this guest room, like, you know, you can stay with us. And I think for Koreans, they might offer, right? Well, you tell me. But there might be a mutual understanding that they're not going to accept the offer between Koreans, because it's like, oh, it's too much burden on you, it's uncomfortable, etc. We know the space is not that big. But yeah, for Americans, there's none of that. It's like, just come stay with us. We'll make it work, right? And it'll be fun almost in a sense. And yeah, it'll be madness, but it'll be fun too.
I see.
I don't know. Yeah, you tell me.
I feel like it goes hand in hand with the diminishing of the Chung thing. I feel like back in the days, it must have been a more common culture to invite guests, and even when they had little space, right? Just come, let's like stay together.
Yeah.
And to be clear, back in the days, I don't think Korea had like a good hotel system so that they can stay anywhere else. Maybe they had no option.
Yeah.
But definitely in modern day Korea, I feel like it's not a thing you do. Like asking if I can crash at your
Oh, really?
house.
Yeah. How about inviting? Would you invite, but it's with the understanding that they're not going to accept?
It's so much not a thing that
Yeah.
I don't think people even would invite now.
Wow.
Yeah, like stay
Yeah.
in my to be clear, I'm not like, I can't speak for like a family to family situation. To me, it's just like me and like other friends.
See, that's interesting to me, because I thought friends would be more willing to just like stay at each other's places. It's just one person, maybe
I
a
mean,
couple.
now that I think about it, I
Yeah.
did ask sometimes when we're drinking at my house, let's like sleep here.
That's different, though.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
And even when I do,
Yeah.
which are the situations where it's like much more natural to
Yeah.
just sleep because like it's already 3 a.m. or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. A lot of people just don't.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Because of that like burden mentality.
Or maybe it's just uncomfortable for them too.
I don't know, Jun. If you were to transport this bachelor pad to America,
Yeah.
I feel like 3 people would be sleeping on your couch every weekend night.
To be clear, some people did already.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have like my like loft space. But only once someone slept there.
Okay. Yeah, so, you know, again, we're not gonna, everyone we met was like, oh, okay, so are you gonna move back? Where are you gonna move back to? Blah, blah, blah. To be clear, like, my wife and I have not had any time to debrief or process. So we're no closer to a decision than we were when we left. So we're not gonna talk about that today at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
실망했어.
What's that mean?
I kind of let down.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for the grand answer.
We will definitely talk about this. When we know, we will discuss it.
But do you have like a feeling? I know this is something that you have to discuss in your family.
Yeah.
But like just personally without having a discussion with your wife.
I mean, America is very nice in a lot of ways.
Okay.
It's this, again, for us more familiar. We feel more free and natural. And our kids seem to just fit in more, right? Of course, they speak English everywhere. That's the one thing our kids kept saying. It's like, oh, actually, America feels a lot like Korea, but everyone speaks English, right? And so they feel, you know, they can get along better in a sense. But yeah, so I think that the feeling is, of course, we just feel more at home in America. But we don't have anything firm or no timeline or anything like that. So yeah, sorry to disappoint. Maybe friends who are listening who are also eagerly anticipating a decision, but yeah.
But there are reasons why you wanted to move out from the US in the first place.
Yes.
Like how did those things feel different?
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man, where do I start? Yeah, so I was, you know, we mentioned this on a previous episode a bit, and I think our kids are still very young, so they probably won't know until they're older. But I do think just living in Korea for, you know, 3 and maybe 4 years at the very least, I think it definitely changed me and my perspective. And also I talked about this a bit with some friends on this trip. I call it Asian male syndrome, which in America, growing up as an Asian male with all the stereotypes and prejudices, etc., it really left some trauma on me. And I feel like, you know, it's never going to completely heal, let's say. But I think just living in Korea for this time has definitely cured a lot of it. Yeah. I won't, maybe I will. It's a little personal, but I don't know whether we should go into this. Yeah, I'll just say I feel more comfortable and let's say even confident and able to kind of recognize and point out some of the biases against, let's say, Asian males in the US more objectively. And it's not as personal and emotional, let's say. I don't get as, let's say, angry and frustrated by the whole thing. And I can just call it for what it is. And I know I maybe can't do anything about it. But before I would get really frustrated and maybe angry at it. But I feel like I can hold it at arm's length a bit more now. And it's not maybe it shifted from feeling like it's a personal flaw that I'm Asian male, right? Growing up and living in the US to more it's like a societal flaw in America that there's so much bias and let's say prejudice against Asian males in certain ways, right? And I think that's the shift that's happened for me after living in Korea for three years now. And hopefully my kids will not have as much of it growing up. But Jun, this is an interesting thing that came up when I was talking about this with some friends in the US. I think perception of, let's say, Asians in general, Koreans in specific, and Asian males even more specifically, it's not there as much as it was when I was growing up, right, 30 plus years ago.
That's good.
Because of BTS.
BTS?
Thank you, BTS.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, Asian, Korean guys can be cool. Like BTS showed that to the whole world.
Were there any examples or instances where you felt this?
No, it's more talking to my friends about and with their kids now. Because again, I think any Asian male who grew up in America, in the generation and time that I did, we all know it. Even if you grew up in LA and New York, where it's less pronounced, there's always a little bit of it, right? But they're saying for their kids, they're like, they're like, Daniel, our kids, trust me, it's like gone. There's none of it. In fact, it might be the opposite, where like it's actually cool to be a Korean man or whatever, a Korean male, Asian male. And so again, we have like BTS to thank for that, I think. And just broader, I think Korea is just whatever Hallyu, like the Korean culture being cool in the world. Anyway, it's kind of transferred over to that next generation where they don't feel as, let's say, maybe even ashamed or self-conscious of being a Korean person. So
I think it's so like the power of culture and entertainment is so immense in a lot of ways. Yeah. I felt the same way when I traveled to Taiwan. Like whenever I say I came from Korea, I can sense that their faces are lit.
Yeah.
And like, oh, you came from Korea.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. Thank you, BTS.
Thank you, BTS. It is cool, 진짜. Really. Yeah, so from that where are we going on this? Oh, the reasons we left America. So in that sense, I think giving them that cultural immersion and also feeling of, I think, again, knowing that there's a country where people look like them, maybe think more like them, and they don't feel kind of like a second-class citizen in any way. I think hopefully as time goes on, that'll be also mission accomplished for our kids too. Sadly, language immersion has, I'd say, been a bit mixed results. But my wife and I, we intentionally put our kids into international school, so we can only blame ourselves maybe. I'm pretty confident if we just threw them into local school, they would have had a really hard time adjusting. But 3 years later, they would be fluent. Yeah. So again, we just have ourselves to blame.
But that process itself might leave. Sometimes it could result in good things, but sometimes it like leaves confusion.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I think there's no world in which knowing more languages is bad. Yeah. So in a sense, it's akawa, like, it's kind of waste that they lived in Korea for so long, but didn't deeply pick up the language. Yeah. At the same time, for sure, their, I guess, foundation is higher. I think even our older two kids, they can understand very well. And if at any point in their life, I think, decided, I'm going to like really try to pick up and learn Korean, they're just at a much better place than, let's say, they would have been anyway. Yeah. That's why I say mixed results. But, for sure, they're not deeply fluent, which is sad. Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's interesting. I'm going slightly back to your first topic, but I think it's interesting that living in Korea for 3 years, it made you more comfortable to live in the States in a weird way. Yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah. This was not an explicit goal, I think, setting out. Yeah, I think it's interesting. For sure. I did not expect this when we first decided to move here. Getting back to your question.
Again, my wife is a highly anxious person. When we left America, it was, let's say, it was still the pandemic, which I think America was not handling that well overall. There was a rise in anti-Asian hate, let's say, for a lot of different reasons, some involving, let's say, Trump being elected and pushing that propaganda per se. But yeah, there was definitely a rise in anti-Asian hate and violence. There was this general feeling of gun control and just drugs and everything, which is still there, to be clear. I don't think America has gotten much better at that. But I would say living in Korea provided a bit of a reset. And also when we went back to America, I think some of these big fears we had leaving America and also like thinking about America while living in Korea, I would say they were maybe a bit overblown. Or like bigger in our minds than they actually played out in day-to-day living in America. I can say pretty confidently for a whole month in the US, I never once really feared for like guns or drugs or anything. To be clear, we again avoided, let's say, situations or areas or times where that would have come up more. But I can confidently say for the whole month, it never really crossed my mind. And I think in general, just the fears that we had of America that maybe grew bigger and bigger while living in Korea, which is so safe in so many ways. Being in America for this month made me realize, okay, maybe they aren't as bad as they had become in our minds. Yeah, but yeah, it was really nice to be back, I'd say. And I think the hard part now is, this month in the US, it was basically vacation, right? Kids weren't in school. We were just with friends and family. It was like one long extended kind of reunion and party in a sense. But we know that's also not what day-to-day living would be like. Our friends aren't going to come out and make they're not going to like go out of their way, let's say, to see us every day, right? Like they did this trip. And, we're not going to be just spending time with family and hanging out, going to the pool every day either. But in a sense, to be honest, in America, like during the summer,
it's a bit more like that.
It is kind of like that, to be honest. I feel like vacations in Korea aren't as chill. I don't know, like they're so few, it feels like, and so scarce. They have to like travel or make the most of it, or like throw the kids into camp, right? Like it's so precious. But in America, right, like it just feels like time and also leisure is a bit more in abundance.
I think this is a good time to say. I went to Caribbean Bay the other week.
Caribbean Bay. Oh, that's the water park, right?
That's the water park.
Yeah.
It was my first time.
Oh, yeah.
I kid you not. I had to wait for 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
To get on. To be clear, this was one of the more popular attractions there. But I had to wait in line for 2 hours.
To ride one ride.
Jeez,
yeah.
And then after that, I lost all the stamina to wait for another one because the other ones were at least 1 hour long too. So I ended up just riding one ride and then just playing in the pool a little bit.
Yeah.
Which again, there were like so many people there. And then I had to leave. And I was like, I'm never coming back again. I mean, it's partially my fault because I didn't purchase like the fast track or whatever. And that's like one of the big lessons that I learned from this time.
Yeah.
But it's just like, everything's a competition here. So definitely there's more of a chill vibe. And in the US for vacations, I think it's a lot of that has to do with like the abundance of resource and the scarcity of population.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's just less dense. There's so much to do. Everyone's doing their own thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have one, this is a bit of an aside, but I think there's this, have you heard of something called Italian ice or water ice?
Italian ice?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. It's like it's a dessert. And we had it, there was this one place in Maryland called Carmen's. But a really popular, I think, nationwide chain is Rita's.
Okay.
Rita's Italian ice, Rita's water ice. It is so good. And it needs to come to Korea. So maybe I'll start a Rita's franchise.
Yeah, but you have to describe more.
It's like frozen. It's like,
it's not a gelato.
It's like a gelato mixed with like, the chuchupa. It's just like frozen flavored ice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Hawaiian shaved ice, let's say.
Yeah.
But not like shaved. It's just compressed.
Oh, interesting.
It's really hard. But then like you mix gelato on it or like put other flavors and toppings. Anyway, it's like highly customizable. But it is so good. We got it almost every night.
Yeah.
We could.
Italian ice.
You heard it here first, folks. This is going to come to Korea and it's going to be a phenomenon.
Maybe you should start a business.
No, really. Like, I think this would do quite well.
I also wanted to ask you about some interesting American news that we heard from Korea because it was crazy all over
July
the
was
news.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Definitely about mostly about political things, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like the attempt to assassinate Trump and dropping out of the presidential election
Yeah, Joe
from
Biden. Oh my gosh, yeah. Both were crazy.
Yeah.
These were bombshell news.
Isn't this one of the most epic presidential elections
Yeah.
in modern American history?
It's shaping up that way. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I remember the exact moments when I heard there was an assassination attempt on Trump and the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then also when Joe Biden dropped out and Kamala Harris took over.
Yeah.
Equally, I remember the exact moment in the car we heard on the radio. This was nuts.
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah. By the way, this is a quick aside, but in America, you spend a lot of time in your car, right? And we were listening to radio and podcasts. And I think this is a big reason why podcasts are just so much more popular in America than Korea. Because Koreans, quite frankly, don't spend anywhere near as much time in their car.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, the Trump assassination attempt, it's just surreal, right? And when you see the footage and hear about the aftermath and the attempted assassinator getting shot and killed and all this stuff, and then Trump doing the crazy thumbs up on his way out while Secret Service is trying to keep him protected and down.
Yeah.
It's out of a movie, right?
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Yeah.
And then of course after that it's it seemed like a foregone conclusion that Trump was going to win the election this year. And then a week later, not even a week later, I think it was about a week later.
Days later.
Was it days later?
I think
Joe
so.
Biden, I think it was about a week late, let's say.
Yeah.
But then Joe Biden dropping out. June, the election's in 3 months.
Yeah.
There is no precedent for the
History,
nominee dropping out this late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so him dropping out and Kamala Harris stepping in, and all of a sudden, all the momentum and money and everything's going towards her. It's just crazy.
Kamala Harris was the running mate, right?
She was the VP.
I know,
So I think by default, she would have been on the ticket together.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think technically Joe Biden could have picked someone else.
Yeah.
But it would not have been. The incumbent just stays put. Yeah,
Yeah.
so she was the VP and the running mate of Joe Biden. But him stepping out and her stepping in. June, America's never had a female president. It's never had, I guess, Kamala Harris is some Indian descent too. So no Asian president has ever been there, right? So it's a huge deal right now.
Yeah.
And I will say Kamala Harris doesn't have the greatest reputation
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. But neither does anyone else, right? But yeah, it's just unprecedented, right? And so this late in an election cycle, this much change and turbulence and the whole thing and momentum shifting back and forth,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And it goes without saying, Trump himself is probably the most divisive person, at least in my history, right? And him maybe being up for re-election,
Yeah.
it's just madness. Yeah.
My first reaction when I heard about the assassination news was this has to be set up, right? This is crazy. Who does
crazy.
that?
Yeah.
And how can it only I think if you're aiming for the head, it's either you miss it or you hit it.
How
right?
can it graze the ear, right?
Yeah, it's such a it left very little harm to him, but
Yeah.
it did all the effect.
Yeah.
Which is it's so natural to think, is it all set up? Because it definitely did something to his supporters, right? And he gained so much out of it, I think.
I mean, I have to be honest, that was my initial impression as well.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not following super closely, but I think I saw some headline where they're showing a picture of him now. There's no, you can't see anything, right? So it's adding fuel to that conspiracy fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in no position to say one way or the other, but I will say it was awfully convenient what happened, right? So, but yeah, I don't think we can. I would definitely not go as far as to say it was all contrived. I mean, someone lost their life, the shooter died, right? And it's it's a pretty serious thing to mess around with. So I'm definitely not pushing that agenda. I agree with you though. It's awfully convenient in a sense, and it did a lot for his polling and momentum. Yeah.
And also about the Joe Biden dropping off. As a Korean person watching American, the political news,
Yeah.
it was very shocking, right? But also on the same time, I'm like, of course, right? I would have been equally surprised if he became president.
Oh
Also.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like after, especially after watching the presidential debate,
Oh yeah.
he's like not,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it was like shocking, but also like, of course, like,
But he should have done it before. I think what was shocking for me was within, even days before he did drop out, he was saying, I am not dropping out, right? And so to do such a 180, as much as a president can be forced to do anything, I think he was forced by the party
yeah.
to bow out because they knew they were not on track to win.
Yeah.
So they had to do something. Yeah. So.
And also about Kamala Harris stepping in. Again, I know very little about American politics, and I don't know if American people thought about this too. But I was like, my initial reaction was also like, why not Michelle Obama then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I think she has a very big presence in American, like,
to be clear,
landscape.
I think if Michelle Obama did want to run, she'd win.
Yeah.
I don't think she wants to run.
Oh, I see.
Being president of the United States, as much as we give them flack and whatever, it is probably one of the most difficult, stressful jobs anyone in the world could do. And I love, there's always these before and after pictures of when someone enters the office and when they leave.
Yeah.
June, even though it's been 4 years, they look like they've aged 10.
Yeah.
It's just such a demanding and stressful job. Yeah, I don't think Michelle Obama wants it.
I see.
But I also agree with you. Like, I'd probably vote for her. I think a lot of people would vote for her. Yeah.
I see.
Okay. All right, June, maybe I kept a list, not super diligently, but I kept a list of some things I noted while being in America this trip. Maybe I could just run through them and we could see if anything's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, number one. This is not the first thing on my list, but I'll start with this. I think as soon as I landed, I had to take a shuttle to get to the rental car place. And there's just this one, it was so stark to me, I had to write it down. So yeah, shuttle from car rental to terminal at Dulles Airport. I remember sitting there and yeah, there was a French and English speaking black family to my right, 4 of them, but speaking French and English both fluently. There was an elderly South Asian couple right in front of me. There was an older single, white man to my left there. I guess this is going in circle order, counterclockwise order. There was a white family diagonal to me, Hispanic man to my left, a Chinese couple beyond that. Just like,
very multiracial.
I mean, literally, you couldn't script it any better.
Yeah.
But it was completely organic. Just that level of diversity, I think, I was like, oh man, this is why America's the greatest country in the world to me. Again, I'm sure there are other countries, maybe, I guess Great Britain, London comes to mind as a city where it's maybe really deeply multicultural and integrated and diverse. But it was just like, I just saw this picture and to me it was just beautiful. It's like, this is what America is. And it's crazy that I'm crying up. I'm like tearing up right now. But really, where else in the world can you kind of experience that and see that on like a day-to-day basis? Every nationality, every race, every religion, every language just being spoken in one place and us all trying to figure out how to do this together. Yeah, it was just a beautiful image to me. And that really is for America. It's just crazy. For all its faults. And I mean, that really to me is what makes it such a beautiful place to be living and to grow up. So
I don't know where I heard this from, but I heard a line saying that the United States is not a country, it's an idea of like this like very multicultural, like multiracial thing. And like as you describe, everyone trying to figure this out together. And I don't think a lot of countries have had to deal with this and come to a solution. And I think America, like in trying to figure this out, they have a lot of flaws and like not everything works out. But I think, especially when I think about Korea now, and especially in relation to the declining birth rate, and eventually we'll have to have a multicultural, multiracial society more and more because of the labor force. And Korean people, when they want to like talk down on American culture, they often raise like the issue of racism. But I feel like Korean people, like Korea feels like we have less racism because we never had to deal with it. And it's just like not on the surface. But I don't think any country can do it. I don't want to say I don't want to say that any country can do it better than the US, but I think they had like the most experience dealing with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was, wow, I'm really shocked I got emotional saying that. I was not okay. The rest, June, a couple really easy ones. Proper napkins.
Oh, not those like very thin ones.
Dude, what is with the Korean super thin napkins that you need like 4 to actually do anything with? And even then they like crumple in your hands and fall apart. But American napkins feel almost luxurious to me. Like even at the McDonald's, they're so thick and like soft and everything. And people still are grabbing like 10 or 20 at a time. Americans are very wasteful.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have proper napkins where it doesn't fall apart in your hands.
I don't know why that is.
Why do Koreans have the super thin napkins? You know what I mean though, right?
I think it's just because cost savings.
Ah, I
right?
see. Yeah.
But eventually when you have to like take 4 out.
It's almost the equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But maybe Korean people learned that even when you have the thick ones, people just like out of habit
take so many. Yeah.
I don't know. Cost savings. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Americans don't have, I think I saw it once actually, but in general, liquid waste, like the dispenser where you just pour out extra liquids, that's not a thing in America. And so every time I threw out like liquids into the 일반 쓰레기, into the regular trash, it felt so wrong.
Really?
It's like so gross in a sense.
Well,
like,
they don't even have it in McDonald's or Starbucks?
No, they don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
They pour all their liquid into the general waste?
I saw it one place, I can't remember where. It might have been at the airport. Like right next to the water dispenser, maybe there's like a liquid waste place. But no, you're just throwing out liquids and like bottles and everything into the regular trash. It just felt so weird.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I hope America could pick up.
I think America is like really horrible in dealing with trash.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure again we have so much space, just more landfills.
Yeah.
No big deal.
But for just like general day-to-day living, it's just so much more convenient.
Yeah.
Which I think is proof that something's wrong.
Yeah.
It can't be this good. Like you just throw away everything.
In America?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it
Don't
just goes to
recycle.
landfills. Yeah. But yeah, on the topic of trash, June, having trash cans everywhere is so convenient.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I think the most classic thing is like I'm getting to my car, realizing there's so much trash in my car, looking around, literally seeing like 3 trash cans in sight, like which one do I choose?
Yeah.
Gathering all my trash and just throwing it out. Half of it's recycling too.
Yeah.
Like it should be recyclable, but I just throw it away in the regular trash can.
Because they don't
It's
even
so convenient.
They don't even have a separate
No, they
recycling
don't. They
bin.
don't even have it there. Yeah. So that was super convenient. This next one is something my wife recognized, which is just people wearing normal clothes and not having like every brand name plastered to themselves everywhere. I think like when I walk around Korea, I can see like, oh, they're wearing that. Like there's not that much, let's say, variety.
Yeah.
But in America, everyone's just wearing whatever.
Yeah, but I think the US is one of the worst countries when it comes to fashion.
I agree with that. Yeah.
It's like for them, clothes are just for comfortableness and
purely
not for fashion.
functional. Yeah. It's like durable.
They have the worst
comfortable.
fashion sense, I want to say.
In Jung, yeah.
In the world, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like seeing people just wear whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so nice. Yeah, that's maybe why like it's so freeing for you. It's like, oh wow, literally no one cares what they wear, so why should I care as much? Yeah. And as soon as I step back in Korea, it's like, oh my gosh, everyone is so put together, dresses so nicely. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, long wait for everything. Okay, so I almost forgot about this. So we were at a hotel eating dinner, I think. And anyway, my wife had taken the baby to put her to sleep in the room. I'm sitting there with my 3 kids, and they're excited to go to the hotel pool, right? But we're eating dinner, and they were like dessert, blah blah blah. And I asked the waitress, "Oh, how long is it gonna be for dessert? Because I like to order some." And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be right out." I was like, "Are you sure?" Literally, because everything that day, the service was so slow.
Yeah.
She was like, "I'll just prepare it right now and get it out for you."
Yeah.
I ordered a cheesecake. I kid you not, it took 15 minutes.
Yeah.
For me to even see the waitress again. And she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'll get it right to you."
Did she just forget, or
I think she was just that busy.
Oh.
She might have forgot.
Yeah.
But another 10 minutes after that. So from the time she told me it's going to be right out, 25 minutes
Yeah.
to get my cheesecake. And I was just sitting there thinking like, this would never happen in Korea.
Yeah.
Or at least just be honest with me, because I wouldn't have ordered it then. We would have just gone up to the room, changed into our swim clothes, and gone to the pool. But it's just this reminder that like everything, there's a long wait. Yeah.
But in Korea, you save up all the time that you have to wait in the restaurant and use it up in water parks.
That is true. June, we went to the pools. The local pool where my brother lives and his kids, there's like a little diving board, springboard.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a neighborhood pool.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 50 people there. No, wait. You're just like on loop. It's like off the springboard into the thing, off the springboard into the thing.
So I think the net time waiting for things
is equal.
Maybe it's equal. To make you feel better. But
No,
I think
that's
it's
true.
actually true.
Yeah, I think it's true. No, we did go to Legoland one day. Yeah, that wasn't that bad.
In Korea?
No, in America.
In America? There's a Legoland
in San
America?
Diego.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Carlsbad. There were lines for things, but it was reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Oh, God, June. This is individualism to the max. On one of our airplane rides, I kid you not, maybe about 4 seats in front, I would call it a 3 to 4-year-old. At least 2 hours of this 5-hour flight, she was singing at the top of her lungs. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
She was listening with something on headphones, and she was just singing as loud as she could. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, is no one going to say anything? Or, like, is everyone okay with this? I mean, it was hard for me to say anything because we were traveling with a young kid, and our baby was crying too. So we were, like, it was kind of maybe hypocritical of me to be judging that person. At the same time, our baby's under 2. It's hard to control her. But that kid is almost 4, I think, singing at the top of her lungs for 2 hours straight. I was like, this is crazy. In Korea, like, I think maybe Koreans would maybe over control their kids in a sense. Like if they're singing a little bit or humming or doing it once here and there, I think that's okay. But I really wanted to say something, but no one else was. So I was like, okay, I guess like we're just going to let this kid sing at the top of her lungs for 2 hours straight.
But I'm surprised that the flight attendant didn't do anything about that.
June, I am as well. Yeah. But anyway, it just stood out to me as like behavior that I guess I more appreciate, like maybe the Korean mentality of like, hey, like maybe this is good for our kid, but it's uncomfortable for everyone else around us.
Yeah.
Someone should, the parents first and foremost, but maybe someone else could have asked politely, hey, like, could you, not sing so loud? But anyway, I was also kind of like, maybe a part of me was kind of proud too. It takes a lot of like guts in a sense to like let your kid just sing that loudly for that long on a flight.
Yeah.
I mean, that family had some principles.
Yeah.
And they were not going to compromise on them. Yeah. I don't know. What would you think if you saw like a Korean kid on a Korean flight, let's say, just
Singing like
singing
that?
so loud as they could for so long?
I think generally what Korean people would do nowadays is that they don't confront them directly. They would ask the flight attendant to say something to them. Yeah, which I think it's a more
That's so interesting.
classier way to do this.
I probably should have thought of that. I didn't think of that. I was gonna. If
you don't want it to make a person-to-person thing.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I should have thought of. But isn't it interesting? I don't even think to do that. Whereas I think that is probably the more diplomatic, better way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another one. Driving. Let's talk about driving a bit. 2 things come to mind, or that I noted. One, people drive really fast in the U.S. I was shocked. I guess I remember driving that fast, but I've just become so unaccustomed to it. Korea has so many, let's say, cameras.
Yeah.
Like you never go over 80 or maybe 100 kilometers per hour in some sections, maybe even 110.
Yeah.
But I was driving the equivalent of 120, I think, kilometers per hour in the US. And literally everyone was passing me. I was driving so slow compared to everyone else.
Was it in a highway or?
It was a highway. Yeah. So not just on the highway. It's just like everywhere. People are speeding past me everywhere, I think. And the funny thing though is there's so many red light like traffic lights and stop signs, that these people would zoom past me, but then I'd see them, like I'd be right behind them anyway. They weren't gaining anything on me. They're just driving fast.
I see.
And one of my conclusions was that I think Americans just like driving and they like their cars, right?
Yeah.
They like, the feeling of accelerating and driving quickly. Whereas in Korea, it just feels like it's just more functional. Like it's just a way from get to place A to place B. But they don't enjoy the act of driving. Whereas I think Americans enjoy driving.
They enjoy the social status that comes from
Having a
driving
nice car.
Yeah. I think that's different too.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
I never noticed that American cars drive faster. But now that you say it, I feel like it's true. And also I feel like it's more reasonable because like you have to drive fast to get to places, right? And also it's because
And such long distances. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And also when it involves pedestrians, right? I think American cars have better manners. So like when you have to drive faster, you drive faster, but when you have to like be aware of pedestrians, they do more.
Then you stop
so I think
and
it's
yield
more
a lot.
reasonable maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, I just couldn't help but notice how fast people are driving in America compared to what I had been used to in Korea.
One thing that I want to mention, maybe I did mention this in one of our previous episodes in regards to driving, is I was so shocked how casual it was to drink and drive in the US.
Oh, yeah. I did notice
Did
that.
I talk about this?
You did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, let's bring it up again, though, because I have a point, too.
Because it's like drinking and driving, I think this is a very good culture in Korea, is considered such a taboo thing that you just never do.
Yeah.
Of course, some people do it and they get caught and then they get fined or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the general perception of Koreans with drinking and driving is that it's like attempted murder almost.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
that
just
bad.
never do it. But in the US, and I don't know if we want to cut this out.
Yeah.
I think now that I remember, I just exactly gave this example in
Yeah.
the previous episode too. But when we had like our company
Yeah.
outing thing, I was so surprised that everyone drank a substantial amount and everyone just drove to their homes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It took me a while getting used to.
Yeah.
So
In Korea or in the US?
in this time in America,
Yeah.
it took me a while to get comfortable again, because it's like the first thing, if you go to someone's house, the first thing they ask you is, "Oh, can I get you a drink?" And of course, it could just be water, soda, whatever. But a lot of times they mean, "Oh, do you want a beer? Do you want some wine? Can I make you a cocktail?"
Yeah.
Right. And my initial response was like, "No, I'm driving. I can't drink anything."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." But in America, again, probably one drink an hour is completely fine. Even more than that, like you're pushing it. But no one's gonna like 눈치 봐 you. No one's gonna make you feel bad. It's more like know your own limits.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, it's like it felt very uncomfortable at first. But then by the end of the trip, I was much more used to it.
I see.
Drinking one or two drinks and going and driving my family home. Right. So
I think it's a combination of individualism. I do what I want to kind of.
yeah.
Plus, I think it's more easier to drive in the US too.
Oh, I think it's not necessarily easier. It's
Yeah.
mandatory. You have to
Oh.
drive everywhere.
That's true.
So then what are you going to do? Not drink ever?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think it's more of a combination of necessity.
Ah.
If there's public transportation or whatever, self-driving cars in the future. Oh, that's another thing I have to talk about. But yeah, it's more just because you're driving literally everywhere and you're always hanging out at other people's homes. Like there's no alternative if you want to have one drink, and also legally it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Usually the limits are, like I said, if you have one drink an hour, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
But
to be clear, we don't endorse that behavior. And please don't drink and drive.
No. I mean, and some of my friends, I was telling this to them too. They're like, it's probably a good policy that Korea has, like literally zero tolerance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just such a norm in America. Yeah. Even like one for the road, right, is like a
Wow.
very classic thing in America. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, right? It's just such a
Literally,
different.
you know what's so the opposite is that while they're so casual about drinking and driving, they're so strict on drinking outside.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was so shocking
Yeah.
and uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Because like in Korea, drinking outside is sort of like 낭만적인, like a romantic thing to do. Almost like not like in like a that kind of romance, but like I don't know how to translate 낭만.
It's like a vibe, right?
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a thing you do. Yeah, yeah,
And because there's so many places in America that you want to like get into that vibe
yeah.
compared to Korea,
Yeah.
where like especially in the Seoul metropolitan area, there's like only a handful of places that you want to do that, like maybe like by like the Han
Hangang.
River.
Yeah, yeah.
But like literally in America, there are like so many places that would be so good to like
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah.
casual drink,
Yeah.
but you just can't. What is up with that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really, it's doesn't make sense. I agree with
Like
you.
that brown bag thing is such a such a joke.
Having to conceal your drink
Yeah.
in a brown bag and
Yeah.
drink from it. This did happen to me, June. So we were with my sister-in-law and her husband and our kids. We were at the beach in Southern California. Amazing beach, just super beautiful.
Yeah.
And we brought some like drinks, right?
Yeah.
Alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
And one of the lifeguards was like, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to pour that out. There's no drinking on the beach." And even my sister-in-law was like, "That is the first time we've ever been told not to drink at the beach." I guess technically it is illegal, but
Yeah.
everyone does it. But yeah, it's just, I agree with you. It's weird. Yeah, that's a weird thing.
But you don't do it explicitly. Do you have to hide it into like a tumbler or whatever?
No,
Or-
I think my sister-in-law was like, we've never even tried to hide it. Like, it's
Oh,
just that,
interesting.
you know, of course you're going to drink at the beach. It's such a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a vibe, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they told us, they like, "Hey, I'm not going to write you up for a citation and fine you.
Yeah.
Just pour it out and don't do it anymore." But we were both shocked. And then my sister-in-law proceeded to keep drinking. We don't care. Yeah, my rights.
Individualism.
Exactly. June, the third thing about driving, though, again, people drive fast. People drink and, like, you know, have drinks and then drive, you know, within legal limits. But the third one was the number of really bad accidents I saw. I think during
you
my
actually witnessed car
not
accidents.
live, but maybe the aftermath of causing traffic, like ambulance, police, everyone comes. But really bad accidents, like the cars are totaled. I don't think I saw anything flipped over, but just like the car is completely totaled, right? I would say in our 4.5 weeks there, I probably saw maybe 5 or 6.
Wow.
So yeah, like, I mean, it's just, you know, first of all, it's annoying, like, oh, traffic, right? It's so bad. But after that, you're like, oh, wow, that was a really brutal car accident. Probably goes in hand with how fast people drive. And also, right, maybe, I don't think alcohol was involved. It's just everyone driving so fast.
I see.
Driving so much. I think it's just a function of how much people are driving. Inevitably, there are going to be more car accidents. Yeah. But yeah, there were so many car accidents everywhere and really severe ones too.
I think that level of severe car accidents in Korea you see maybe once a year. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Okay, this is June. This is just one random moment I wanted to call out. And it was awesome. So we were back in downtown Redwood City, which is in the Bay Area. And we were just walking by like a Chipotle or whatever. And my second kid, she said, "I smell boba." And I was like, you know, there's no boba smell, right? She was like,
Yeah.
"No, there's a boba smell." And all of a sudden, the other 2 kids, so I was with the older 3, they're all like, "There's a boba smell, there's a boba smell." Really loud, just like in public, so loud, right? And I'm just walking by, there's this couple of people sitting at the pizza place being like, "Hey, guys, like, there's no boba smell, right?" And they're like, "No, there's no boba smell. There's no such thing." Like 2 random strangers is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And my kids, meanwhile, were like chanting in unison really loudly for everyone to hear, "There's a boba smell. There's a boba smell." And I don't know why, but that moment to me just felt super American.
Yeah.
Right? Like my kids are super loud. Everyone within like 20-foot vicinity can hear them.
Yeah.
Right? I just walk by a random couple and just ask a random question. And without skipping a beat, they respond.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like this whole
Yeah.
feeling of like just being friends with strangers or being open about this stuff. It felt really nice and very American to me. Yeah.
I want to recreate this in a Korean context. Right? So number one, I think it can totally happen that your kids are shouting out boba smell.
That loud?
Yeah, and then you would say like 조용히.
조용히 해. 야 임마. 조용히 해.
And then you would never approach a
stranger.
stranger, and even if they do, they would be like, "What's going on?" Don't talk to me.
Yeah, they would probably be like, "Oh, why are your kids so loud?" 시끄러. Yeah, I agree. That is what would happen in Korea. But
Wait,
yeah.
but the biggest question here is,
Wait, June, yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Well, what do you think? Is there such a thing as a boba smell?
Yeah, that was my question.
No way. There's no boba smell.
But how come your kids, like, even like they both agreed, right, that there is a boba
They
smell?
all three agreed. I think they just wanted boba. No, admittedly, we were walking by a boba shop. So it's like Chipotle, pizza place, boba shop, whatever. And my kids are just like, boba smell, boba smell. And I was like, there's no such thing. Yeah, anyway.
It's I don't know. Smell of starch.
There's no such thing. The tapioca smell. Maybe there is, but okay. I mean, let's just talk about weather very briefly. So while we were in DC touring the monuments, it was 105 heat index. So probably equivalent of what we're experiencing in Korea right now. It was so hot and uncomfortable.
Wait, what's a heat index?
So it's perceived temperature factoring in humidity. So not just like pure temperature, what the thermometer reads, but when it's humid, it's even more hotter.
But it is Fahrenheit, right?
It's in Fahrenheit. Sorry, yeah. In Celsius, I think that would be like, let's see, 40. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy.
Wait, 40 divided by 5, 8, 9, yeah, 105. Exactly 40. Yeah.
Wow, that was fast math.
I do it a lot actually because I still think in Fahrenheit in my head.
Because like Celsius to Fahrenheit is like the weirdest conversion. That was very impressive.
If you take Fahrenheit, 9/5 plus 32. Oh, sorry, Celsius. 9/5 Celsius plus 32 equals Fahrenheit.
9/5 already is crazy.
Come on, 40 you can divide by 5 really
Yeah,
quick.
okay.
Yeah, 8, 90 times 9, 72 plus 32 is, 104. Anyway, did I do that right? That'd be really embarrassing if I didn't. I'm pretty sure it's right.
It's not even linear, which is weird.
It's linear.
But it has like
There's a slope of 9/5.
plus a constant.
Plus 32.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, it was 40 degrees. It was awful.
Crazy.
So DC felt very similar to what we're experiencing now. Southern California was much hotter than I had remembered. And I think even locals are like, yeah, it's getting hotter. But it's not humid. It's like a dry heat.
Yeah.
And then Bay Area. Oh my God. You mentioned this before.
Yeah.
It is so nice.
So good. It's like next
It's like
level. Yeah.
perfect weather all the time. So, yeah, but I think I wanted to just highlight how big America is. And within, these 3 areas of America we're considering, these are just 3 of 100 places we could live in America, right? Literally, there's hundreds of cities that are all great and awesome. But they each have their distinct pros and cons. And I think that's what makes America America too. Even within each city, there's so much diversity, whether it's like the type of jobs that you can have there, whether it's the schools, whether it's like the political leanings, whether it's the weather, what kind of food you can get, right? It's just all so different.
Wait, so I have a question.
Yes.
If you could choose to live anywhere within the United States,
Okay.
independent to like your personal context of like having family or friends
yes,
there,
yes,
like
yeah.
where would you choose?
Definitely of the 3 places we visited, no question. North County, San Diego was amazing. Yeah, just like you're so close to the beach. I mean, amazing like food and cuisine, super chill. Yeah, just weather is perfect. There's just so much to do. And yeah, I think that place is amazing. Yeah. But again, there's not really any jobs there. So
Why not though?
good question. That I never really thought of.
If it has such perfect weather,
Yeah.
I feel like it's natural that people gravitate towards that place.
Yeah.
And then there would be like a population.
It's almost like a beach town. Right? So, but everything's there so expensive. So I think people say like, oh, you like make your money somewhere else, then you move there once you have made enough. Yeah.
How's Hawaiian weather?
Hawaii is probably a lot more rainy, definitely more humid than this place.
I see.
So Hawaiian weather is amazing too. Don't get me wrong, but like, yeah, this place was amazing. Yeah.
The thing that I also heard about Southern California weather,
Yeah.
which I think is crazy,
Yeah.
is that this is what I heard from someone. It's because it's basically desert terrain,
Yes.
and so they don't even have a lot of bugs there.
Oh,
So you can always open the
yes.
window.
Oh my gosh, how did I not bring this up?
Yeah.
I guess yeah, there's no mosquitoes really. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the windows don't have screens.
Yeah.
They just keep it open and the air is
crazy.
flowing. It's crazy to not have to deal with mosquitoes. East Coast has mosquitoes. Yeah. So, thank you for bringing that up. I forgot how amazing that is. Okay, just a couple more, June. The feeling of just swinging my car door open fully with no regard.
Uh,
The most foreign thing. I don't think I've done that once in my time in Korea. It's like you're always so close to the next car,
Yeah.
or you're afraid of like hitting something, like the concrete barrier or whatever.
Yeah.
But just flinging my car door open to the full length
Yeah.
is so nice. Such a small thing, but yeah, never done that in Korea. Yeah, okay. I mean, the last one is not anything special, but I would say just the feeling of being full, like uncomfortably full. Yeah, because of portion sizes or heaviness of the food or whatever. But, I think part of what contributed to gaining 4 kilos. First of all, I was on vacation. So a lot of times I was like, well, I'm just on vacation. I'm just going to eat whatever I want, whenever I want. But yeah, I just remember just constantly feeling full, like uncomfortably full and like kind of gross in that way. Right. And I mean, I never, before leaving for Korea and having lived here and living here for 3 years, I don't recall this feeling of constant fullness in America. So definitely it's more having acclimated to Korean, I think, diet, both the volume of food and type of food, and then going back to living like true American for another month. I just felt so gross. Yeah.
the portions are crazy.
They are insane.
Yeah.
They are next level. Yeah, we kept over ordering. Because my wife and I weren't used to kind of American portions.
Yeah.
Where one American kids meal, honestly, probably all 3 of our kids could split it. But we had been ordering 3 at first. Then we went down to 2, and it was still just too much food. Yeah, these portions are massive. All right. Well, anyway, those are some of the things I noted while being in America, but I was not so diligently recording it down, to be honest. I will just say it was so nice to spend time with friends and family that I had not seen for so long. And yeah, just being reminded, I had visited America maybe once a year while living here. But even still, like, this trip was different in that way. I was there with my family, and it definitely felt more like home. Yeah.
Is there something that you realized as a stark difference now that you came back that is either good or bad about Korea? But it's been only 2 days-ish.
Oh yeah, we're still we got back late Friday and this is Monday. So I guess 3 days. I'd say we're still not over jet lag. Like, our kids yesterday woke up at 4 a.m. Today 5:30. So hopefully tomorrow.
I think
maybe
the second day is
6:37.
when the jet lag hits you the
The
most.
worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was struggling to stay awake at 4 in the afternoon yesterday. Yeah. But then we went to eat some daejigogi, which my son was just demanding. We didn't eat
any Korean food while you
We
were there?
ate Chinese Korean once.
Ah.
Yeah, other than that, we did not eat any Korean food in America. Yeah.
How was that?
The Chinese Korean?
Yeah.
More to my palate. Yeah.
Really?
Less sweet, more salty. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so it was good.
Again, I think one of the best jjajangmyeons that I had
It was in America.
was in America. Shout out to Bukkyung
In Boston?
in Somerville.
Somerville. Okay. But yeah, I mean, okay, I wish I didn't think much about my reactions to being back in Korea. Oh yeah, okay. There was one. Yeah. So I guess we went to church yesterday. Our friend was visiting, and she had like 3 luggages with her, and just thinking like, she left it in the trunk of our car, right? But I think in America I would have definitely like thought, okay, is this a safe place to park the car? Is this okay? Like, triple check that I locked the car, etc. But in Korea, I didn't even think to like lock the car. Maybe this is being too naive.
Yeah.
But again, just it is so nice feeling like you're so safe and everyone's going to act reasonably, let's say, in Korea. I think that's something where, even though I said earlier, I was never on high alert, whether it's like, guns or whatever in America, I always am aware of the threat of something, happening, whether your car getting broken into, you getting mugged or whatever. At least you're aware of it, right? You might not feel like, okay, this is imminent or going to happen, but you're at least thinking, okay, how can I minimize the chance of something like that? And I think as soon as I step foot in Korea, I have to reacclimate to like, oh, I don't have to really worry about that here. And again, that is so nice. Yeah.
I think that's one of the pros of being a collectivist society is that it comes with predictability because the society as a whole acts as if like it's a bunch like it's a group of things and
Yeah.
everyone acts pretty much in a similar way.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a certain expectations around how things are gonna roll out and happen. Whereas like in a very individual society, you have to predict things on a personal basis.
Yeah.
I mean, like the mass effect of everything, you know, accumulated together might, but I think like you don't like in America, it's very difficult to predict how that person's going to react to certain situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, the convenience thing is nice too. I think the first day back, my wife just ordered a bunch of things on Coupang and they were there the next morning. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then really just walkability, being able to walk around, go to dinner, have 50 different restaurants within a 5-minute walking distance away. Maybe not quite 5, but you know what I'm saying. Just like having so many options available to you. All the conveniences exist in America too. But you're waiting like 45 minutes for that food delivery. You can't walk 10 minutes to get to it. Like everything is far away and spread out. So again, like it's just trade-offs, right? I love just going to someone's house and spending time there in America.
Yeah.
In Korea that doesn't happen, right? So it's just, pros and cons, give and take. Yeah.
But also I think it's a city by city basis too. Like if you're
That too,
living in
yeah.
like Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
You might get the same convenience and
That's true. Yeah. And I've said this many times on this podcast. Again, it's not just Korea versus America. But you have to admit, Jun, in Korea, most people live in a city center.
Yes.
Right? Like in America, most people do not live in a city center.
Yeah.
And so even though there are exceptions to this, overall, right, if you're living in America, it's more of a suburban, suburban sprawl.
Yeah.
Whereas in Korea, most people live in some sort of concrete jungle. Right? So even though there are exceptions, I think by and large, these generalizations are true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like my English speaking's gotten better.
Gotten better?
Yeah. I feel more comfortable speaking English after living in America for a month. Obviously, that goes, that's natural.
Yeah.
But I can feel it.
Yeah, I think that's only true because I lost a lot of my
No,
English too.
I don't think that's true. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so we have so much to shout out to
Okay.
because we just had one month break.
Yes, June.
Especially for our Patreons. Yeah.
But June, we did it. I was traveling for a full month, and we still did not miss a week.
Yes.
Mostly thanks to you.
We're very close. We're on the verge. But I'm trying not to. I'm trying very hard not to.
Not to miss a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, on Patreon, we have a bunch because it's been almost a month. It's been more than a month since we've recorded. So I'll just go in order. Thank you to Joel, Max.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Max.
Do you want to repeat after? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you to Joel,
Thank you, Joel.
one of my closest friends. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.
Max D,
Thank you, Max D.
Junyoung Suk,
Thank you, Chunyoung Seok.
Rebecca,
Thank you, Rebecca.
Daniel,
Thank you, Daniel.
who originally supported us for $3 a month, but pumped it up to $5.
Oh, they did.
I don't know what prompted that, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Alina,
Thank you, Alina.
Oki,
Thank you, Oki.
Alex,
Thank you, Alex.
Cyrus,
Thank you, Cyrus.
and Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much. You help us, sustain what we're doing right now.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all for your support. As always, if you think this episode was worth 25 cents of your time, please consider supporting us for $1 a month on Patreon or more, whatever you would like.
Or $99.99.
Jim, this is crazy.
Yeah, it happened this morning, I think.
Yeah, not to diminish anyone else. Again, all of your support is really meaningful to us,
Yeah.
but we have to shout out this person.
Yeah, this person, wait. How
It
can I
is
find
Aurora
this?
Cali.
Yeah, this person shot a super thanks to us on YouTube worth $99.99, which is crazy.
It's
I had to,
crazy, yeah.
I had to double check.
I screenshot it because I thought it was going to go away. Again, really humbled by your very generous super thanks. Really, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, means a lot to us.
I'll understand that as like you guys shut up your gear.
Yeah, we need to get a
Maybe
pop
invest-
filter, I feel like.
Yeah. Maybe invest in better gear.
Yeah. No, thank you so much.
Also, we want to mention that maybe it's just gonna be for a very brief while, but we're number 1 in the Korean podcast chart.
Let's go.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for listening, and your
It
support.
felt so surreal.
Yeah.
And I rarely check the charts.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did. Maybe it's because our previous episode was doing so well. I wanted to check the chart.
On parenting.
Yeah, on parenting. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, we're on number 1. I
June,
don't know for how
screenshot
long.
it. Yeah.
I did it like 3 times.
Send it to me. Oh, I also want to say, June, we have been getting more regular, I'd say, email write-ins with just listeners sharing their thoughts and observations and comments. I just want to say, I have been out for a month, right? So I've been very behind on responding to these.
Yeah.
But I will, whether it's Instagram DMs or emails, I am going to go back and read and respond to these more thoroughly.
Also Discord.
And Discord, I just want to make sure people aren't. I mean, I have been negligent on this, but please, I ask for understanding. Just I've been traveling on the road with my family for the past month, so I'll get back on it.
I could have done it myself too, so I'm very guilty.
No, but generally, I've been responding to the English
yeah.
ones. You've been responding to Korean ones, so yeah.
Anyways,
Okay, as always, thank you.
good to have you back.
Yes,
Yes.
I'd say at the beginning it felt awkward. Osoke, is that right?
Osoke, yeah.
A little bit, but at the end I feel more like we're back in the groove. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for listening. June, one thing I forgot to mention, it's good to be back in Korea because we get to record again.
Yay.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
So it's good to be back. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
Bye.
Missed you. Bye.
Wait, why? Why are you laughing?
No, I said I missed you. So too late.
Oh, I missed you too.
Yeah.
And I missed doing this. This was fun.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
What do Koreans do when it rains?
Stay home.
Stay at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, malls.
For a split second, I thought it was like one of your Aje jokes.
What was that beep?
I don't know. Wait, let me check the phone.
Okay.
I'm so nervous.
Oh, June in America. I stopped covering my mouth when I left.
Oh.
I started realizing I do this in Korea, and I don't know why or when it started. But I do, but in America.
I think one of the most impressive parts
Never
is
once
that
did
you
it.
switch back and forth so quickly.
Not impressive. Isn't it just weird how quickly you can, like, settle back in?
Is that just
the
like
culture?
normal human behavior?
I think it is. Yeah, I think there's nothing impressive about it. It's just crazy how quickly you can context switch, I think. Yeah.